Does your car click but not start? That's what happened to mine, and I thought it was the starter, but it wasn't. It was a quick, easy, simple little problem that I fixed, and in today's video, I'm gonna show you how to fix your car and get it from click, click, click to actually starting. But first, I need to tell you a story about how it all happened, and this is useful for Toyota Land Cruisers. This is my 2000 with 330,000 miles. I love this truck. It's been very reliable. But the Toyota Sequoia and the Toyota Tundra also share the same engine. So this is a common problem, but I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this. So I think I've found a little quick solution for the starter issue for certain people. Not everyone, but certain people are going to assume that it's the starter when it's actually not the starter. You can just do this quick, simple solution. But first, let me tell you how we got there, and then I'll help you figure out and diagnose your own problem for yourself really easily. Okay, to start the story, let me tell you what happened first, because there's two issues. One of the common issues with the Toyota Land Cruiser is they used a plastic heater tee on the back of the motor, and I'll show you real quick. Well, they fail, and mine failed, and it left me stranded with an overheated vehicle on the side of the road. But since I had some JB Weld in the back of the truck in my toolbox, I fixed the heater tee with plastic JB Weld, epoxy, fixed it up, and it got me so I could get to my jiu-jitsu class, and I got to train, and I came back out. It was cooled down enough so I could go take it, put water in it, and limp it home. Once I got it home, I found heater tees, and I will put the description down if you need to order some heater tees. I highly recommend you change them because they're plastic and they will fail on you, and you don't want to go through all this, what I just went through. So change your heater tee. It only takes 30 minutes. I've got another video on how to change the heater tees. I'll link that right there above. So I changed the heater tees. Now I had a starting problem. So not only my car was overheating, but I fixed that, but now the car won't start. It'll just click, 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 click.
Gosh, it did it just for a second.
So immediately I thought the starter's gone bad. And the starter is underneath the intake manifold, and that is such a headache to get to. But when I clicked the key, I could hear a click, and the starter wasn't engaging, so I just assumed it was the starter. Well, I wanted to make sure that I explored all the options before I could say that it was actually the starter. So I did a lot of research, and I found someone on the Tundra forums because these have the same motor as the Tundra. So first you have to test the battery. And I'll show you how to test the battery right now. Okay, here's how you test the battery. And I'll put this little part in the description so you can test it. It's very effective and cheap. So you're just gonna turn this thing on, slide this over to on. DC 20 is fine. And we're just gonna connect the negative to the negative side of the battery and the positive to the positive. And I'm gonna need to find a way to hold these because I can't film and talk at the same time. All right, and there we go, 12.6. So the battery is good. So now we can move on. We know that the battery is good, so we know they have enough power to start the vehicle. Now what's next? Make sure that your terminals are tight. You need to pull these off, wiggle them, make sure they're tight. Maybe even try tightening them back down, because if this is loose, it'll click, 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 but not have enough power to start the vehicle. So now that we've eliminated power and we've eliminated connection, what's the next thing? Well, here's the solution. There's a relay on the 2000 Toyota Land Cruiser. Let's check the relay out. Here are some of the parts I recommend for keeping in your truck for an emergency situation. I always keep this in my truck. All you do is just plug those in, press and hold down the start button, and this thing is ready to jump off a dead battery within a few seconds. This is like 60 or 70 bucks. You can get it on Amazon. I'll put the link below. I recommend this. I'm also gonna put in the links below this so you can test your battery. It's only a few bucks. Test your battery before you go any further on the process of eliminating things that could be wrong why the vehicle's not starting. You have to test the battery first. Here's some heater tees. I'm going to put this link below also so you can purchase the heater tees, and then I will also put the hose kit and a few other things that will help you diagnose the problem so that you can get your car started fast and effectively, and keep some of these things in the vehicle so that you, when you're in a pinch like I was where the hose busted, I used just JB Weld to fix it. You never know when things like that will actually come in handy just to get you down the road. So it's very effective, efficient, smart way to protect yourself so you always feel comfortable doing long distance road trips, and just, you never know when you're gonna need backup, and it came in handy for me. I'll put all these parts that'll help you keep your vehicle safe and keep you from getting stranded. I'll put all those links below. This is your relay box. On the 2000, it's located right here. As you can see, it says starter. So all you need to do take this guy off. And here is the starter relay. I pulled this thing out, and I'll show you. It's hard to get out. It's shoved in there really good. And I put a little wire jumper in here just for the next time I needed to use it. I just hid it away over here. Make sure it's not connecting anything that it shouldn't be. So I pull this one out so I can get my fat fingers in here to pull the other one out. So now we need to pull out this relay. This is the starter relay. By pulling this out and jumping and bypassing this starter relay, see, starter relay. So to determine whether the starter is broken or not, you remove the relay, which on the 2000s, it's right here. You pull this out and you're just gonna stick this insulated wire where the relay went. And by doing that, you'll be able to either hear the starter or not. Okay, so the starter is working properly. This is the solution. Now you can eliminate the starter. The starter just kicked on. That means you have an issue somewhere between the starter and here. And in my situation, it was literally just the relay. Now this is not even a new relay. This is the old one, but just by pulling it in and out, it actually made it work properly again. So literally just by pulling it out, now all of a sudden the vehicle started up again. Watch. So before it was just making a clicking noise, and now that I removed the relay, it starts up just fine. So in my scenario, I was lucky enough to just remove the starter relay and put it back in, and the vehicle started. So I removed the starter, used the insulated wire to jump the starter and bypass the starter relay, and then I could hear the starter running. So it eliminated the starter issue. The starter actually works. I'm getting power, I'm getting the starter to turn over, but there's an issue. Why doesn't it work when I turn the key? I just get a click, click, click. Well, as soon as I put the starter relay back in, it miraculously worked again. So it could have been condensation when the heater tees blew. It could have been a short. There could have been a lot of reasons why the relay didn't work. Possibly it just got overheated in there. It got steamed when all the coolant was lost under the engine bay. It was too steamy. Regardless, remove your starter relay, jump it, test the starter, put it back in, see if it'll start. It could be as simple as that. Now, I went ahead and ordered a new starter relay to put in my glove box, and it's on the way, but that is still the relay that was not working, but now is. And that was literally the vehicle would not start. So that's a simple solution for some people that are having starter issues with your Sequoia, Tundra, or Land Cruiser. It might not be your starter. You first need to test it. So test it and then go on with your diagnostics. And you can test it yourself. You don't have to go get it towed somewhere. You can do this on the side of the road, but you need an insulated wire and you need to know where your starter relay is first. So give that a try. So like I said, this vehicle blew the heater tee. Now, if you don't know where the heater tee is, this is the rear of the motor, and this is the heater tees back here. This is the tee. And as you can see, I've got another heater tee, and it just fits right in there, just like that. You undo that fitting, that fitting, that fitting, and you plop this in. Now, the previous owner put these aftermarket hose clamps, and I really don't like them because one of them was actually leaking. You have to really tighten them down. I recommend that you get the OEM ones, and I can provide some links for those also, but this is a heater tee. Now, someone replaced this one, but they didn't replace the back one. It had originally 330,000 miles, and that's why it blew. So it will leave you stranded with an overheated motor if you do not replace the heater tees. It will leave you stranded. So replace these if you don't know that they've been replaced, because you don't want to get stranded. You should also keep that JB Weld plastic with you just in case you need to repair something on your vehicle to limp you around. So for the Land Cruiser, this drawer system is really useful. I can keep my tools back here, and that's how I repaired it. I had my JB Weld, my tools, my jumper. I can always start my car. I've got a tool kit, I've got a jack, I've got coolant, I've got things to fix my car whenever I need to. I recommend having something like this in the back of your Land Cruiser. So if you also have a Toyota Land Cruiser, Toyota Tundra, or a Toyota Sequoia with the 4.7 V8 and you've had starting issues and you've used the relay jumper to get it started, let me know if that's helpful or if that was not helpful for you. Put it down in the comment section so we can use our collective data to figure out how many people have been misdiagnosing that it was actually a starter and replaced the starter when really it was just the relay wasn't in properly. It was a bad connection because it hasn't been touched in 20 years. Who knows? But you must first test the battery, test your battery terminal connections, and then bypass the relay to eliminate any other, potential problems before you just jump straight into the starter. First, eliminate the fact that it's the relay. And you can do that with a simple insulated wire to bypass the relay. So do that first. So from the heater tees exploding and me fixing it, thinking that my car was fixed, to all of a sudden now it doesn't start. And those were related because the car started fine until it was overheated. And it did get up to 245 degrees, but these engines are pretty tough. And I was using synthetic oil and it just didn't damage the motor, but it did have a starting issue. So was it the humidity under the hood after the heater tee explosion? Who knows? But first, remove the relay, bypass it, see if your starter kicks on, put the relay back in, and it might just start back up. I'm gonna put my Instagram below. If you'd like to share a vehicle that you're wanting to purchase, but you're actually not sure if it's a good deal or not, or if you're having Land Cruiser, Tundra, Sequoia, or anyone that just has clicking issue, but it's not starting, and this resolved the problem for you, click the link in my Instagram and tell me what your story was, and also drop it in the comments, because I'm curious if this was useful to anyone or not. And yeah, I really can't communicate with you as well on YouTube as I can on Instagram. I can actually message you back and forth because the comments doesn't work the same on YouTube. So say hello over on my Instagram, and hopefully this was helpful and it saves a lot of people the money from actually towing their vehicle on the side of the road when all they had to do was just jump it, pull out that relay and put it back in. And hopefully that saves you a lot of time and money and headache, because I was so stressed thinking that I'm gonna have to tow my Land Cruiser. I love this Land Cruiser. I really, really love it. I love driving it. It's the perfect color. I have the wheels and tires that I want on it, and I just love it to death. And it was hard to find in such a good condition with high mileage. But I didn't want to tow it to a mechanic that I don't trust, and I don't even know if that's the problem yet. So you have to figure out if the starter's the problem first before you just go give it to someone. And honestly, a lot of mechanics would not even know to do that sometimes. Some of them, not all of them, but some mechanics would just, let's just replace the starter and have to take off your whole intake manifold. So thanks for watching, guys. And if this was useful, let me know and I'll catch you in the next video.